Good morning, everyone. Well, I'm gonna start off saying that music is one of humans' biggest forms of expression, and it's been around us for decades, but can it also heal? Music therapy has a bunch of positive effects in the treatment of various illnesses. I decided to choose this topic because it relates to everyone, because everyone is vulnerable to some kind of disease or illness, and everyone loves music because it's just in human nature to love music. I researched this topic from various medical journals where they did further research in this topic. And in detail, I'll be discussing how music therapy helps in depression, autism, and chronic pains and other patients. So for the first one, depression. Depression is it's a mental disease, and it affects the person's emotions as long as their behavior. There are many medical ways to treat depression using different kind of different kind of medications that kind of almost numb the mind. But music therapy is also starting to appear in the treatment of depression. At Finnish University, which I cannot pronounce because there's way too many accents, conducted a research to see if actual music therapy could help depression patients. So what they did is they split up two groups in a depression ward, and then each group had about 70 people, and then they still kept the regular treatment where it was counseling, cycle evaluations, and then their daily medication. But in one group had the regular treatment, and the other group also had an hour session of music therapy to see if it would do any different than the control group. Groups of therapy actually showed lower symptoms in depression, such as your emotions, and then they also started functioning better, just generally. The research showed that it could help express non-verbally their emotions and also help relieve suppressed feelings and attitudes they have towards others. The second illness that music therapy helps is autism. Autism appears during the first 3 years of life, and it affects the brain's normal development of social and mental communication. Music therapy helps autism because it connects speech skills to singing, it connects rhythm to motor behavior, and then it connects song memory to memory of academic material. They use music therapy to help autistic children generally to help them reach academic goals. One case study was found in a 19-year-old boy named Waldo in Illinois. Waldo suffered from autism pretty severely, and he could barely talk, and he had a lot of time expressing himself and what he wanted. So if he wanted more food, he couldn't really express that he wanted more food. Instead, he'd kind of just stand there and scream. And then, so they decided to start giving him hour treatments of music therapy every day. And then within the first month, there was already noticeable details. By using song lyrics and melodies, it started to actually help his speech, and he started beginning to say yes and no and more, and he actually started to discuss what he wanted to others. And then when they played instruments, it also taught him concentration and directions, because he was really bad at following those. And then the discipline of playing a musical instrument actually helped him learn those. The last one is chronic pain. Chronic pain can range in patients from suffering from cancer all the way to arthritis. Music therapy has been given in a Texas hospital to study its effects on patients that are suffering from chronic pain. What the therapy was targeted to do was start relaxation in the body. During this, relaxation was achieved, and it also helped reduce the blood pressure, steady out the heart rate, and relax the muscles, along with calming down anxiety and generally relieving pain among patients. After about 2 months of this, patients already start having lesser dose of their pain medication just because of the music therapy. And an actual study from an actual example that I experienced personally was my grandpa used to suffer from Parkinson's. And there was a time where towards the end he was really just crippled in his bed and in a lot of pain. But he always used to have this little stereo next to his bed, and he always found the stereo kind of more therapeutic. And he was able to listen to songs from his youth day, and it just used to help him a lot better to struggle through the pain. So in conclusion, music therapy does actually help people, and there's enough research to actually support this. Skeptics still say that there is not enough research, and they argue that medication is the only solution to help these cases. But medication does have its side effects, so because there's so many. If you see those medication commercials, there's just a long list of side effects, and also when you're taking medication with other medication, that could even result in death if not researched well. So hopefully I explained the benefits of music therapy, and I hope not, that you guys suffer from an illness, you could hopefully use music therapy to help you get better. Thank you for listening.
All right, Kevin, what did you think?
I thought his thesis pretty clear that music therapy is beneficial, and he sounded his source really well. His voice was confident and all that. But I noticed that he moves nervously a lot, but at the same time he's really stiff, kind of out there, not moving from point to point. So I think you should work on that. And other than that, it's pretty good.
All right, Dean, I thought that the opening is fine. I think it could be a little bit more compelling, but you set up what your topic is relatively clearly. There's this good preview there. The individual points are structured fine, so it's clear to follow. I do think you could use a little bit more information on each of the points. Like each point has a study or a good example to make its point, but I think you need to reinforce those arguments a little bit more, because we're dependent on whatever was it Swedish or Finnish? Whatever this Finnish study is talking about, that's about the only proof that we get on that particular point. The illustration with the kid who's got autism and responded to the therapy, I think that works pretty well also, but I'll bet that was in the context of a larger discussion about using this as research. At the end of the speech, you actually give us a stronger need argument for why we ought to be paying attention to this, and that is that the alternative treatments are so potentially problematic. Let's face it, if you are trying to handle people's pain and depression with medication, there are problems that handling autism or these other issues using doping people up may not be the best way to deal with those kinds of issues. And I think that probably would work better early in the speech as a justification, even before you get to the individual points that you're talking about. I think that would build a stronger reason for why we're listening to this as an argument and why it's not just an informative speech. I do think you've got an argument here, kind of a persuasive kind of claim here, but it would, like I said, be clearer if that was earlier in the speech. I think you do a nice job speaking to the audience. Your eye contact is pretty good. You have to look at your notes only occasionally, and usually it just seems like a quick reminder as to the source or a little bit of detail on the story. You seem to know what it is you're talking about, so I thought that worked pretty well. I know kind of what Kevin's talking about, your anxiety sort of thing. It's mostly, it looks like it's just swaying while you're talking. That's the movement that I noticed a little bit. It wasn't constant, but it happened a couple of times, and it was like, something's a little bit out of control here. The speech is only 5 minutes and 18 seconds, so you had plenty of time to make that argument a little bit stronger. And I think that's where you needed some expert follow-up on other cases, for instance, or if there's any statistical information to support these points. As it is, I think it's a good introduction to the concept that these things work, but I'm not sure that I'm persuaded that they work. The two emotional appeals that you make, the one with using the example of the kid and then the one with your own grandfather, I thought that was pretty effective, and it gives us the ability to identify sort of what you're talking about and care about those issues as well. So thank you for getting us started. We appreciate that.